Okay, let's start with d4 and e6. Normally you play c4 when you open with d4, but this time I switch to the French defense. If he plays d5 now, we have French, but he doesn't. Okay. Thing is, if he allows me to get this much space, should I play c4? Okay, now I can play knight c3 and really control all these squares in the center. I think he needs to play e5 later on to fight for d4. So my goal is to protect d4. Maybe I follow up with bishop e3. It reminds me a bit of the King's Indian, but this bishop belongs to g7 then. So he has some problems with this knight. Because normally when you play d5 with white, the black knight jumps to e7, but this square is now occupied by the bishop. Okay, you can see that we play a 3 minutes game with 2 seconds increment per move, so it's unlikely that you lose on time when you play this 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. Let's castle. Black needs to play e5 later on. Maybe sometimes you can also try to play for d5, but sooner or later he needs to do something in the center, and he needs to find a square for the bishop here, or a good place. h6. This is weakening kingside position, but I mean, it's not dangerous at the moment. You know, I like to play bishop e3, but I don't want him to play knight g4. So I play h3 as well. And then I follow up with bishop e3. And if he allows me to do so, I will play e5 or d5 later on. Okay, let's play bishop e3. f5. Okay. So the square e6 becomes very weak now. Yeah, let's directly fight for this square. So knight would be nice here on e6. So knight d4, knight e6 is already very, very good. Yeah, I like this. He can play f4, but his problem is this square. Okay, let's take here now. And where does he want to go with his knight? Forty-three seconds is not a lot. I want to kick away those beautiful knights. They are very good here in the center. So first this knight, and afterwards, maybe later on, b4. But I need to take control over e4 first. So bishop f3 is, I think, the next move I will do. And then I try to do something here on the e-file. Yeah, I mean, maybe g3 and bishop g2 or bishop f2 later on. I don't like this bishop here on e3 that much. So I want the bishop to be here on f2, but the pawn on f4 is unprotected, so let's play g3. Or should I play b4 directly? I mean, he needs to go to d7 now.
Time warning.
Yeah, let's do this. And you could see now 20 seconds. This is not a lot, but I think with 2 seconds increment per move, this should not be a big problem. I think it's more important now to find the right moves here. And yeah, 97, I mean, he directly loses, so he needs to play this. I want to keep the bishop, so let's take back with the pre-move. 20 seconds still. This knight is hanging, and when this knight moves away, but where does he want to go? Okay, and he gets into time trouble as well now. Bishop h7, and the king has to go to f7. This is not a nice square for the king. Yeah, okay, let's penetrate here.
Check.
So we win a lot of material now. And okay, maybe he just loses on time now.
Black forfeits on time.
Alright, I mean, this position is lost anyway, so I will take the other pawn, and the king is totally lost. I could follow with something like rook f3, rook g3 here, and I mean, all these pieces are very nice. I mean, the bishop is not that good at the moment, but whenever I move the knight here, maybe to e6, the bishop would be very good here on this diagonal as well. But I think this knight is that good here. I could just also, you know, try to play on the queen side. This is simply a one position. I mean, black didn't play that bad, I think. I think this was very provocative. Is it correctly spelled? I don't know. So he really gives me the center, but I'm not that sure if this is the best move here, what I played. Black position is solid but very passive, and I mean, here sooner or later he needs to play e5 or d5, and he didn't do something like this. I think h6 is not that necessary here in this position. And here knight e7 is also, what is he doing with the bishop on c8? But this is all not the real problem. The real problem is here in this position. He doesn't look out, or doesn't take care what I am threatening. I mean, he just maybe thinks of his own moves. In this position here, he needs to take care about his knight on c5. I mean, if you try to be on black's side now, you are the player of the black pieces, and it's your turn. So if you look at the position, you see that the bishop on c8 is not developed, so he needs to develop the bishop in the next moves. Maybe just bishop d7 or something, yeah, but to connect the rooks. But even more important is here the knight on c5, and this very dangerous knight here on d4. So he might, for example, a candidate move would be to play a5, just to protect the knight here on c5, because my plan is to play b4. If he plays a5, okay, he weakens this square b5, but it's he has a square for the knight, it's protected, and if I attack it even more, he can maybe even retreat to a6. Yeah, but here he simply loses a pawn if he plays a6, and that's what happened. Yeah, so watch out for the threats of your opponent.